Yeah, no, I'd love to be sort of receptive to what people are wanting to hear. And this has been a year of needing to pivot a little bit, the way we do business, the way that, the way we shop, everything, everything we do is a little different.
You're listening to the She Renovates podcast. You're listening to She Renovates, the podcast for women who want to renovate to create an income and a life they love.
This episode is sponsored by the She Renovates Live one-day conference, where we focus on women transforming their lives with renovating. At the event, you'll have the opportunity to celebrate the passion for creating beautiful homes, to connect with other like-minded creators, to grow your skills, to fan your inspiration, and to be updated on what's working right now in our industry. This is an exclusive event being held on November the 1st in the gorgeous Grounds of Alexandria atrium in Sydney. The delightful Natasha Moy will be facilitating the conference, and we have a lineup of truly engaging speakers, such as Zoe Gilpin, the DIY decorator who's travelling all the way from Western Australia to share her wisdom and her hacks with us. And we also have a range of top speakers on all aspects of renovating and property from around the country. You'll be pampered with delicious Grounds of Alexandria cuisine, goodie bags and prizes, and so much more. As I said earlier, this is a very exclusive event, and already 60% of tickets are gone. And so if you are planning to join us, please jump in and grab your spot at www.theschoolofrenovating.com/She Renovates Live. See you there. Well, hello renovators, it's Bernadette back with She Renovates, and today I have my occasional co-host or regular co-host, Jo Vadillo, and we're going to be talking about what's happening in the property market right now. Hello everyone, hello renovators. We are back with another episode of She Renovates today, and I have my occasional or regular co-host, Jo Vadillo. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You got it right. Yes, you've nailed it.
How many years has it been? So I thought I'd be really official today and get Jo's proper bio so I can really tell you who she is. So she is a well-respected property influencer in both the new build and the established homes space. She is the director of the buyer's agency Advocate Property Services. Jo is also the face behind Property Women, a platform advocating and supporting female investors that provides online education and connections nationally. She's a mum to 3 boys, an author, and sits on the board of My Property Circles. Well, welcome, Jo.
I'm so glad to be back on the show. Always a pleasure.
So how's your week been? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've had a bit of a sketchy couple of weeks, Bernadette. I have not been 100% well, and as a good citizen, I've taken myself off to be tested, and I've had children home sick, and I'm on the mend now. But I tell you what, I mean, it's not a good time having those COVID tests because they really assault your nostrils when they do the testing.
I believe so, yeah.
But
down the back of the throat.
Yeah, look, the throat I can handle. The nose, oh, not so good. There was tears, there was sneezing, it was chaos. So anyway, glad to report I'm negative. But I tell you what, having a bit of a health, there's a lot of fear around at the moment, but fear is an amazing motivator. So it is just making me think, for me personally, I'm on a bit of a health kick, and, I'm just going to run with that. And I know fear, especially when you're talking to people who are in the property space, they realize or recognize that they need to get started, they need to do something. And this is a really, obviously, most obscure time in our histories. but geez, it can be a awakening for a lot of people and what they want to do and where they go next.
Oh, look, I agree. I know it must seem like I drink a lot because I talk about dry July all the time. But so since dry July, we both committed to not drinking so much. And there's been this show on the ABC with what's his name, McAuliffe.
Sean McAuliffe.
Right, that's right. And really talking about the link between alcohol and breast cancer. And oh golly me, that completely freaks me out. So yeah, we're a bit the same. You know, because we want to be around for the long haul.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's for me. Look, I mean, it's all about accountability in this life, because we can continue on and just do as you do, but it doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how rich your life if you haven't got your health. Like you can sit on the sofa and park your yacht, but like if you're not well enough to get off the sofa, so be it. So for me, it's about having the utopia where you've got great relationships, a great business, things are flourishing, and I'm feeling really, spiritually and healthy within myself as well. So I'm just a bit of an accountability platform, really, because now I'll put it out there. So I'm invited.
I'll be checking in.
So now I'm basically inviting anyone who's listening to this at any point in the future to find me on social media and ask me how I'm going.
Awesome. Well, I am definitely trying to be better, but I'm not quite as, well, I shouldn't say I'm not quite as committed. I'm not quite as organised as you are. I'm not out there getting the accountability yet.
Yeah.
Usually if I make a change, that's how I do it. I engage everyone in it so that I can't, drop out, but haven't been that far with it yet, but all's well. In fact, today I'm getting ready to have 20 people for dinner.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I won't be sticking to the dry July tonight, but that's fine because it's not July.
And I also take it you don't do it too often with the 20 people over for...
no.
Yeah.
So of course, I had to go online and check. So it's with a group that we would normally go to a restaurant, but it's just really hard at the moment to find a restaurant because you've got to have tables of 10, which we're still doing. Like I'm certainly being very cautious, like COVID-wise, but I thought, oh, look, let's have it at home so that we can, it's a bit more relaxed, and most of the catering's coming in, so that's nice. I don't have to do too much cooking, but yeah, so there you go.
How fun. That's awesome.
Yeah. It is fun.
But it's like that with property, isn't it? Having that accountability around you to say, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. But then 2 years passes and 4 years passes, and all of a sudden, it's like January, you got all these great ideals, and all of a sudden you're shopping for Christmas presents. Like it really, it's a thing that we all face, that accountability. And
exactly. Yeah. And you know what? Oh, like this is really bad. But when you look at something to buy and you think, oh no, I can't do it now, I'm too busy or whatever, and you don't do it, and then 10 years, well, you may not have lived long enough to have this, but 10 years down the track you look back and you think, oh, I should have really bought that.
Yes.
And I had one of those come up about a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, and like it was an absolute steal, but I was just so busy, I just did not have the headspace to look at it, and it's so and now I'm thinking, you know what, in 10 years time I'm going to look at that and I'm going to think, what an idiot. What an idiot. But anyhow, and so you do need to commit, and and I guess for us, we made this year the year we do the development on Oxley Park, but I realised I'd done nothing about it. Like I'd got sort of caught up in the COVID thing. So last week I got onto David and said, can you start doing some concepts for it? But, that might take a little bit of time. But I also did find someone that I'm going to get to do some due diligence for me. So that will be good. Yeah. So make sure that the plan is viable. So, so there you go. So, okay. So today we're just really going to talk about what's happening in the market right now. And the other thing I wanted to do today is really nut out what you're going to be speaking about at She Renovates Live.
Yeah,
So that
sure.
I thought we'd do it online, we'd do it in the podcast. So, rather than go and then say, oh, Joe's going to talk about this, we'll sort it out right now. But before we do that, so how are you finding the market?
It is unique. So I'll give you an example. So our business, predominantly the buyer's agent side of our business, we are definitely skewed towards investors, but we do have a certain segment of our clientele is actually owner occupiers, in which case a lot of that time they are in Sydney. So I am talking about Sydney prices, and I am talking about the market as it stands today. But I'm struggling, and my clients are struggling as well to find that there's just not many houses on the market, so I've been sourcing off market and pre-market opportunities for them, and whilst they exist, there's certainly opportunities there. It's not always that perfect match up with what they're actually looking for in their budget, but I've got a generous budget to look for. But there's people aren't selling their houses, people aren't moving unless they're actively downsizing or choosing to move into state, or it is a divorce, or it is a case of a family estate, etc. But most people are sort of just treading water at the moment, and that's making the prices stand up really strong. And to give you an example of that, in Sydney last night there was an auction of a property that I knew when I saw it come to the website on our real estate, I knew it was under quoting. Straight up, it's sold for $600,000 more. There's 20 registered bidders, and the sad thing in that scenario is that there were a lot of people that invested money in those pest and building reports. They had high hopes that they were in with a potential a chance, and 600,000. Yeah, 600. It was just a crazy blowover, and that I do feel there was definitely an element of underquoting in that sample, but I'm seeing this time and time again in Sydney as well. So that's what's happening in that owner-occupier market. If I'm to look at where there's an aspect of our business where we help people source house and land packages, those prices are certainly becoming elevated. The cost of land is going up, and that's being pushed along by that home buyers grant that the government's introducing. So if you were to secure a property by the end of the year and build within 3 months, and it was your principal place of residence, you get a $25,000 bonus. So that's certainly pushing that market and driving sales so far. It's actually quite extraordinary. So we're definitely seeing a lot more first homeowners in the market, and people who do want to take up that advantage. So they may choose to live in an area that wouldn't be their long-term property option, but they'll live there for the next 12 months, 18 months, and then potentially come back in and rent closer to the city. So that's kind of where I'm seeing the market at the moment.
Wow. And so are you finding that buyers are nervous?
Oh, the amount of people at the open homes is just insane. And I'm talking about, at the moment, properties over $2 million. So whilst it's not, your renovator's budget necessarily for a starter, 101 groups went through a couple of weeks ago. And yes, there's some element of, that property sold for $400,000 more than it was actually advertised as. But I'm getting, the hand sanitizing's going on. They're taking the shoes off, putting the mask on, don't touch anything is, definitely signs everywhere. Don't open drawers and cupboards, etc., which is, to be respectful of a home that someone's going to come back into after the open home and live in. Yeah, but it's just, the buyers are out there. And I know there's an element of sticky beaks and like neighbors and all that kind of stuff, but it's still very strong. But the agents are telling me that some of the buyers have got the interest there, but the finance is holding them back.
I wondered about that. Yeah.
So it's the banks that are walking like with weights on them, because a lot of the banks have lost a lot of their admin staff with overseas closures as well in Manila and other call centers that are offshore. So they're actually hiring more locals again, because this has actually really heavily delayed approval processes as well. And I have seen in the last, say, 2 months, 3 months, where settlements have been delayed as a result of the banks. So generally settlements don't get messed around too much, but it's not been anyone else's fault, but banking delays.
Yeah. Well, I know we've just got our finance through on the Chalmers Street project, and seriously had to jump through so many hoops. Like, it was just, So I think there's also that extra diligence on the part of the bank.
Yeah.
In terms of their requirements for getting finance and so on. And of course, because we are doing it in the trust structure, and they get very sort of wary. So it takes some time, even though we did have pre-approval. But yeah, so we've only got 2 weeks to go, and we've only just got finance now, so it's 4 weeks it took. So.
Wow. Yeah, and they are.
So
banks are very cautious of people who are recipients of the JobKeeper allowance. They want to make sure your
I don't think they were lending to JobKeeper at all.
I don't believe it. So it depends. Perhaps if one of you is in a PAYG and your spouse is a recipient of JobKeepers, that my understanding is they're not entertaining anybody who's actually receiving JobKeepers that allowance. There's red alert industries. So you'll come to settlement and then they'll want to ensure that you're still employed. So, I never would have thought I'd see a time when a pilot might be under scrutiny for finance, but here we have it.
Wow. So when you, like, what you're talking about is when they come to settle, they'll do a double check and make sure they're still employed.
Yeah. Well, 6 weeks is a long time now. 6 weeks is.
What if they're not?
I haven't heard any case studies where the banks have decided to not proceed, but that's a really big question, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, because they're already committed by that stage, aren't they?
Completely. I mean, they're 10% at least as a deposit into the transaction. So I don't know what that might mean for people. So whilst there's a lot of distress and concern and out there, but there's also a lot of people that are still, in a really good position. They're still making buying decisions. So
that's the thing. There are still, the majority of the workforce are still employed.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll wait and see. I'm excited. I'm excited to get my project done and get it sold. Yeah. I do think that we're going to see a change early in 2021. I think that mortgage moratorium will come off, and that's when we'll see things change. And so for anyone that's sort of smart, I would be getting yourself lined up, because, there are opportunities. Not that you really want to be preying on, we never like preying on someone's misfortune. But by the same token, it is the market. And this is a time when people are able to get incredible results in a much shorter time frame, because things won't stay in the doldrums forever. And yeah, I know they keep talking about W curves and V curves and what other sort of curve, but it will. And I think something about, I don't know, I reckon it's the interest rates, do you, that are also helping?
Very much so. And money's easier to come by to a certain extent. So it's cheap, and I think if you've still got a job and you still want momentum and you don't want to take a year out of your life waiting around to see what deals there might be, some people are sort of, I have heard from some people, you think the prices are going to come down any further, and it's like they haven't really come down yet. So they're not really any fire sales. I do know the media is reporting otherwise, and that could be in different markets to the ones that I'm active in.
Okay. Yeah. I think that it doesn't matter what's happening in the market, there are always deals.
Yeah.
Like there are always good buys. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And who's going to, I've been down that path, sitting around and waiting to buy something, and then it just doesn't happen. And what have you done? Wasted another 6 or 12 months of your life without taking action. And I also think the types of deals that you source, they're deals that you can add value to.
Yeah.
If you're buying, a property with its potential fully expended, well, that's a different, kettle of fish, and you just might be on a different wavelength. Like, I know that we don't all live and breathe what we can do with property. So, and sometimes it is really just about your sanity. Like,
yeah.
But so I want to get my deal out of the way so I'm ready for the next one.
I love that.
So ticket sales are going really well for the event. Now, Yeah, She Renovates Live. And so, what I wanted to talk to you about is because our focus is on women who are transforming their lives with renovating, I think I really wanted you to come in because you're a property strategist and you're across a whole lot of.
That's me.
Don't worry about it. I listen to someone who does a podcast and his cat meows all the way through it.
Oh, that's so funny. That's the thing I often say because I'm alone at the moment, so I can't police the behaviour of my canines. But I'm keeping it real and being authentic. It's not a sound studio; it's just my office.
Exactly, and that's what we are. We're about being real, so don't worry about it at all. Okay, so what I was thinking, what I was wanting you to present, because I know you do this really well, is really talking about the different types of deals for renovators, and because in different areas, things like in Victoria you can't have a granny flat on your house if as a way of producing more income because it's not allowed by the rules and things like that, to really help our renovators really get an understanding of what's possible for them with their approach. Because most people who come into renovating, well, they all come from totally different backgrounds. They've got different, well, you would know this, different borrowing capacity, different assets, different ambitions or goals. And so, and there are different strategies for every scenario. And I think that's probably the main thing that I think that would be the best thing for the event. And also really at that time, what's really working in the market, what's a good strategy. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing. Sounds really good.
Yeah, and I think lots of people, everyone knows what a buyer's agent does, but not every buyer's agent is a property strategist. And I think that's something that makes a massive difference. You're not just going to a buyer's agent and saying, I want to buy an investment property here. You're actually working with that person to build a portfolio that's going to deliver what you want. So we'll do that sort of en masse. So giving them some insights and some intelligence on what do you reckon?
As well, isn't it? Because if I can sort of share some numbers and some case studies, and then you can sort of see what other people have done and how they've realised the capital growth, and maybe just give some a bit of a rundown on what that might look like. If it's New South Wales country, if it's Queensland, if it's Victoria, I can touch on Adelaide, and depending where, I'm more than happy also to be receptive to people who are in your Facebook group if they sort of highlight what perhaps underneath your show notes what they'd like to hear more of. So that's the beauty of it.
That's a great idea. Actually, straight after this, I'm doing a live, so I might actually do a bit of a call out for what they would like to know, and that's an excellent idea.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, no, I'd love to be sort of receptive to what people are wanting to hear. And this has been a year of needing to pivot a little bit, the way we do business, the way that the way we shop, everything we do is a little different. You show up to a barbecue and you touch elbows or ankles or don't touch at all with people. Like, it's just, it's a different way. But, we need to do a different way of doing business. And I've always said with your property investing, treat it like you would a business. Obviously you can't 100% remove emotion from the equation, and probably nor should you. But at the same time, look at the numbers, know when to roll them, know when to fold them, and know when to walk away and know when to run. But, and making sure that, I'm more than happy to do that. I'd absolutely love to, because I've got some awesome stories that I can share with the successes of some of our clients. And I think I said this to you before, I'm so inspired by the people that we work with. They come to us buying their first property, and all of a sudden then they've done this and they've done that. And even I'm like, wow, like I just get so much out of other people's successes. It really is what my passion is seeing that. And that's why I'm super excited about She Renovates Live, because if people who are hearing this haven't been to an event like this before, I don't think you realize the takeouts that you're going to have from this. Just being in a room of like-minded thinkers, the inspiration it's going to drive you. You really will come out with your head about to explode with, oh, got all these ideas. And it could be just ideas about how you're going to add value to your own home or unrealized potential in your own home. So it's,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've quoted this before, but Zig Ziglar said motivation is like bathing. It needs to be done daily. And it's, and that's what I think, like, I'm like obviously not really all that into the rah-rah, but I think you need to engage in some rah-rah. Something's going to really lift your spirits at least once a quarter to really feed your passion and your goals, because it's like anything, you do tend to sort of get into a bit of a rut. And also building your list of contacts, building that network. I think it takes a village to be a renovator. And you want to start building your village, and to be an investor for that matter.
So it's so true, especially true of renovating.
Exactly. Yeah. So awesome. Well, and also Michelle from Adelaide has just finished another reno, and that was an absolute cracker. So she's going to do before and after. We're having lots of before and afters because that's what we love.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And numbers, so you can really see, get a feel for what type of reno is your type of reno. And I guess
I'm looking forward to seeing Michelle's. She's got thick skin. Now look at the properties that she's bought online. You're like, wow. Nothing scares her. I love
her. She said that this time even her tradies said to her, "Are you sure you've done the right thing?" So, that's, so anyhow, so there's a lot to look forward to. So, okay, well, listen, I think that's it for today. So if you haven't got your ticket, the price is going up. It might have actually already gone up by the time this goes to air, but I just want to let you know, I've actually staged the early bird because I know that COVID is really, unsettling, and so you may be holding off. So I've staged the early bird. So the price, if it's gone up, it will go up again, but I didn't take it up the full amount. So just to give anyone that does have some concerns some time, and also know that you will definitely be eligible for a refund if COVID prevents you from coming. So you don't need to worry about that. We're fully on board with that, and so is the venue. So all good.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Thoroughly recommend a day with the like-minded environment is just so enriching. I think that was the first time I ever went to one of the Property Women conference. I remember coming home and just, oh my God, even when the accountant came out to speak, I thought, there can't be too much that's exciting about this. And I just learnt so much. It was just, 8 hours of, it was just amazing. So I know this is exactly what's going to happen. And what's going to happen at the end of the actual day? People are going to hang around and keep talking for another couple of hours. They'll be mingling. There's going to be new friendships formed. And as you said, the networking that you will make on this occasion is going to be, it's going to pay back tenfold at least.
Yeah. And also the other thing which I'm really proud about is the beautiful environment. I just think that really helps to feed the soul. So
absolutely, yeah.
Listen, thanks for that. I'm going to declare this episode done. So
perfect. Thanks, Bernadette.
No worries, Jo. So just if you haven't got your ticket, just follow the link in the show notes and it'll take you directly to the landing page and you'll be able to grab one there. And so goodbye, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. So if you are not already a member, I want to let you know that we have a free membership for podcast listeners called the Reno Library. And in it, you will access all the show notes and resources from every episode we have ever published. So we're getting quite close to the century. So there's quite a lot of resources in there. So if you're not already a member, please go over to our website, follow the link from this episode, and join up to the renovation library. See you next week.
This is the She Renovates podcast. To discover how to harness the power of renovating, check out theschoolofrenovating.com.